Under the Rift for game number 2. Liiv SANDBOX finally on the blue side, going to see whether they can even out this series. Give us a best of 3 to work with. Their composition, as we can see, you know, Clozer has become more and more confident on the Azir as this season has gone on. I think it has moved up to one of his better champions. But the bottom side, going to be difficult to deal with. There was actually a bit of a chat with Ruler after their last game at LoL Park, just about what his thoughts on Nilah were. And he was like, if you can actually stay even in lane, the extra experience you get from her passive can be very, very good at creating a lot of opportunities in the mid game. However, oftentimes, because of your short range, you're not actually able to create, to stay even enough in order to make it work out, and therefore he doesn't really rate the pick all that much. Prince obviously in the other camp, and we'll see how Liiv SANDBOX is going to be able to do. Because of course, Zeri, not necessarily known for punishing an early lane.
And we have seen this exact matchup also, if I'm not mistaken, work out very well for Doran in the series that they played against KT. Where,
true.
They actually were able to find a lot of the early pressure that this pick can provide. And will be a tough ask. Need to be very careful of how you mitigate the early levels. Renata, of course, still incredibly strong in terms of lane. Clozer going for the combat here, so fully committing to what will be a more lane-oriented Azir. Understandable given the priority on those mid-lane roams that we have seen. Do note that, especially in some of the early skirmishes, Clozer actually was the one who was able to get it done, as will be 16, I know, if he wins. 15 and 0 at Chovy on the Ahri. A mind-blowing level of dominance on this pick.
He's certainly starting to get some notoriety on this, rivaling that of what Faker used to do on the LeBlanc course, lasting until MSI Game 5 2015. Before that one did actually take its first loss. Not quite there yet, but Chovy's Ahri is certainly very scary. At this stage in the game, however, not looking too frightening at all, as he is going to go back a little bit early. 8 wins in a row here for Renata, who has been just amazing. Kellen, huge shout out to him. His performance just in general was great, but his Renata, absolutely amazing. In the series a couple of days ago, almost said yesterday, they won it again yesterday.
It's understandable, Atlus. We've had 5-game weeks for, 9 straight weeks?
We have.
So, the yesterday, I'm feeling it as well, was overall going to be a double scuttle here. Do see Dove might be at risk here.
Yeah, Doran taking a bit, but Kael's going to get in. Great handshake there from Lehends, but it's not going to be enough to save him by the looks of things, and First Blood will go over to Croco. Dove now trying to make his way out, but Devastating Blow will be just that, and Peanut is going to answer. But First Blood Gold over to Liiv SANDBOX, slight edge for them.
Oh, and Dove, if you hit that flash, at least Peanut's forced to flash it well. And you trade summoners, but now you're down a summoner. You get punished hard. Liiv SANDBOX, overall, I think a favorable trade. Able to pick up the early pressure here on the bot side of the map. It's definitely instrumental, as you pointed out in this matchup. Kael just strictly business, going in here. Only downside is that, of course, Prince is not able to pick up the kill, as I'm not sure if it was Permafrost or Kael's Aftershock that was able to get that one, as Peanut, we have been giving him a lot of credit, and it's understandable for his creative pathing. Understandable why Dove thought that he was fine here. Peanut, really nice job of evading the vision, and Dove realizing here that he's in deep trouble, and avert your eyes.
Oh,
what's about to happen? Not pretty. And again, would have died regardless, but you trade flash for flash, which in an early team fight, a Wukong without a flash to get onto your background with Cyclone, feeling a whole lot better. Now, going to be a much more painful trade.
Yeah. Feeling maybe some nerves here for Dove, but that's a difficult flash to make regardless. Still, they do manage to grab that kill on the bottom side, and Dove will still be Renekton. So they've got that. See whether Doran's going to be able to use this in order to get some more lane control. As you can see, big wave stacked up here for the Ornn, and so should be able to even out the farm, despite the fact that Dove does have a 10 CS advantage. Teleport was able to get the Renekton back to lane without losing too much. But if there is a return gank or anything like that, the flashless Croc might be in a whole lot more trouble. Chovy just laning this one out, and as you can see, staying very competitive in farm, but Clozer with control of the lane, which is often what you're afforded on the Azir.
As now, bot side, gonna clear some control. With this wave, wouldn't be surprised if they want to go for a dragon. You're a little bit pre-power spike here. One downside is Clozer is out of mana, but it looks like with Peanut pathing towards top, they're not gonna opt into this. And going to pick themselves up, the early Drake here. And early Mountain Drake on Sejuani, on Nautilus, and on Renekton, I think you're going to be very, very happy with. So nicely done there.
Absolutely.
By Liiv SANDBOX. Also, do note, Croco going for the Hex Flash here on Sejuani.
Very cool.
Very interesting.
I'm a big fan. Also going for Aftershock as well, that we do see from our jungle Sejuanis.
Yeah.
More often than not, of course, you're not going to be stacking Grasp or anything like that, but does also mean that that singular Mountain Drake going to be even more valuable in theory for this Sejuani.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to clear out this wave, taking a bit of a beating for it, but I think he should be all right. Ruler looking to now chase him down. There's the flash forward from Lehends as the Ornn comes down. Kael's going to be in trouble, but the return of the Ornn's not going to land. Exhaust comes on through here as Prince just doesn't want to die as well, and it is going to be the Nautilus falling down. GenG going to get some revenge on the bottom lane.
And Doran doing what a top laner does in the current meta, which is at level 6, just walk down towards the bot lane. Gonna work out. Croco trying to play defensively here, but I don't think they have the resources. No TPs available.
Yeah, this is just to desperately make sure that Prince picks up this wave.
Okay, well.
And they do manage to do so.
Yeah, at least with the level 6 being hit, I think that you can actually hold on to this, and they will choose to do so. Now, going to be a very nice trade regardless. Doran not really giving anything notably up, not even falling behind in terms of CS, due to his teleport still being available. So goes down towards bot, makes the play, gets the teleport off, and then is completely fine as Croco is backing, and the Peanut gank is going to come through, but doesn't look like SANDBOX is going to fall for it. Of course, a lot of gold here for Prince. And looks like that might just be a shoved-in wave. And overall, early Drake is nice. GenG going a little bit up in terms of gold. And in terms of the late-game scaling, there's still Zeri. I think the 5v5 is very strong. But Liiv SANDBOX has some individual components that I would expect to do well to get into the later stage of the game. Azir, most notably, but even with Nilah, it really feels execution dependent. We have seen her absolutely dunk on some mid to late game teamfights as well.
Yeah, it feels like if you get the right Nilah teamfight, then things can absolutely work in your favor. It is not going to be the lethality version of the Nilah as well, which we're happy to see. So just going to be going towards the shield bow and just building just general crit items from there. And so we are definitely happy commentators on this particular desk. Dove should be able to grab this cannon minion. Yes, there we go. And Liiv SANDBOX looking to grab both of the neutral objectives in this early stage of the game. Definitely some great early game control despite being down in a bit of gold as Peanut. Warrior Trickster is going to be available here, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to challenge for this Rift Herald. And Croco will be able to very deservedly pick this one up for himself. So I collected both Drake and Rift Herald taken early as we tick towards 10 minutes into this game. GenG obviously not too worried. Apotheosis is going to get a flash here on the bottom side. Ruler has to get himself out of the way, so now Prince with a summoner spell advantage.
Very nicely done. Ruler sitting on a cult, feeling very comfy, able to just CS very, very nicely as well. Even despite the early attention paid to his lane, but definitely going to respect there. With the Ghost especially, the potential that Prince has to kind of run him down in a longer lane. Don't want to give over a couple of early free kills to a Nilah that can snowball very quickly out of control, as have actually seen that this Azir priority, which eventually turned out to be somewhat of a bait in the Dom 1 KT series. Chovy was very vocal about this, in that it actually kind of negated what Vikla was able to do. In this Clozer versus Chovy matchup, very much the opposite story, where both of these laners really showcase how much prio you're continuously able to generate. And it's really eased up the objective control for any team which has been able to get their hands on the Pigeon.
Yeah, it's actually working out very, very well. We've seen this matchup go multiple different ways. A lot of people very happy to pick the Ahri into it, but Clozer is making sure that Chovy is permanently shoved underneath his turret, hasn't really been able to do too much, and It's been a relatively quiet series so far for Chovy, as Kael is going to have his hand forcibly shaken. It is going to be able to move his way out, and GenG have a lot of bottom side vision. It looks like this Drake is one that they're not wanting to give away.
See the backs come through. Should be in time to still contest. Peanut on top half of the map. Might want to pick himself up the scuttle, and of course more time is afforded now that the Drake's harder is Dove.
Yeah, Dominus going to come through, but Dove's still going to get knocked up. The brittle proc is going to be painful here as the Bella's breath comes through. Oh my goodness, Doran's almost a flash away from killing him as Peanut is going to turn up as well. I think Dove's a handbag here towards the top side. Nimbus Strike is going to be all Peanut needs. Flashes for it, and Doran was not even close to dying. They'll grab some plates for their trouble as well.
Yeah, we'll be able to pick up another kill there on Dove. Dove not having a good time. Because in isolation, if you just trade there and you're able to back, you feel peachy. You got a big team fight cooldown. However, I do have to make the side note that this is in fact Dove. And Dove, he's playing Renekton, which really changes the dynamic of how well he's going to be able to operate in the later stage of the game. But it's still Drake being picked up here for SANDBOX. And in terms of gold, I really like the trade from GenG. And I think that they're doing a great job at punishing Dove, which is by far the most exploitable point that is available on SANDBOX. But they are giving up a lot of Drakes. And with an early Infernal Soul, yet again, as you have pointed out, on the table, could be a little bit tough. As, oh
dear.
Oh, Dove. Oh no.
This is a very comfortable return. However, there is no Ornn. So
there is Cyclone.
Yeah, I think he's probably still dead. But he is going to be able to slice and dice and gets out of the way of the second activation. So there we go. He will survive, but he's not going to be able to stay underneath his turret, I do not believe. Although Peanut is going to go home, so he's going to be spared for now.
He's fine, but it's just normal Dove things.
Yeah.
You know, just get ganked. Watch. Be fine. And do want to wonder how much more pressure Liiv SANDBOX is going to be able to find on the turret plates before they do drop. Herald, if I remember correctly, being thrown into mid here just to give some additional gold and set up for that Drake. And overall here, actually the priority play that I was expecting coming in this series from GenG hasn't really come to fruition. But this GenG comp, it doesn't need to win the early game, and even though they're down Drakes, they're still up 700 gold. So they're still in a very comfortable spot. You know, I don't think anyone is getting gonna be particularly worried on their end. They have Ruler, and yes, he doesn't have Yuumi, but it's still Ruler on Zeri.
Yeah. Peanut's here again, by the way. The Ram is going to come down. There's the Dominus. Great knock-up with the Searing Charge, and I've seen this play before. It happens once again, and it is once again successful.
Just keeps happening, unfortunately for Dove, as will now finish his Blade the Ruined King. And this is the downside. It even means that there's going to be a full first turret blood, full plates given over. Oh, actually, I think they might have
missed
a
the last
second
one.
Too late.
Yeah,
still not bad, but now possible punish coming through here.
Yeah, Kael's going to move his way up. Peanut, Warrior Trickster is going to come on through, but there's the depth charge. The Monkey's going to be locked down. Bella's Breath going to be doing a bit of damage here from Doran, but Peanut is not escaping this one. Doran gets underneath his turret, so it is just the one kill, but still, good punish there from Liiv SANDBOX after the turret falls down. Lehends and Ruler now trying to get some work done here onto Prince, whose W is available, but he gets his hand shook. Chovy's going to dive on forward. Everfrost doesn't quite find the mark.
Wait!
Prince picks up the kill onto Lehends. He stays for too long as Chovy doesn't get the return. It's a double kill, and I guess Prince is starting this game 2-0 as well.
That's a disaster! Oh my, Atlus!
I don't know how it keeps happening, but it just keeps happening. Prince will be fed at the beginning of every single game, Chronicler. That is just how this series has got to go.
That's the benefit of being royalty, I guess. Oh my!
You gotta take your taxes, you know?
You gotta pay, yeah. And so on top side here, obviously, both cooldowns were used, or a lot of cooldowns rather were used to take down the Crocodile. As a result, note also Croco, very nicely done here, holding on to his ultimate in case he actually needs to get the double Permafrost off. And this is a level 10. Like, and this is one of those Nilah moments where you're like, hold up, it's level 10. How did that happen?
Yeah.
And then, which is the passive, obviously. getting a level up there as well. Just really nicely sidesteps everything. And also, I think, like, Ruler and Lehends both critically miscalculating the amount of damage that this turret does. And again, they were 3 levels down.
Yeah.
As well. Oh, Prince. What a gamer.
It's nuts. The Apotheosis Flash as well was absolutely brilliant, as GenG are looking to take Shirley. Going to be their first neutral objective of this game. We do have 45 seconds on this Infernal Soul point for Liiv SANDBOX, and I have a feeling that is where one of our most important fights is going to occur, because GenG, they cannot let that kind of map control go astray, and Liiv SANDBOX desperately want to be able to fight for some control of this game. If their composition manages to pick up yet another Elemental Drake, it's going to set them up in great stead. As you can see, Prince just holding onto the mid lane, doesn't have any of his summoner spells. Ruler does have both of his. So at least there is that for the potential fight in 15 seconds time.
Look at the setup though. Look at this vision for SANDBOX. They're ready for this.
Absolutely.
I don't think GenG's contesting. I think they're like gonna go double backs coming through here. No teleports available unless Chovy's gonna switch to it, and oh, this is a risky contest from GenG.
Yeah, Doran's going to walk over a lot of vision as he gets over here as well.
Poke's so huge as well. I don't know if they can fight this. Yeah, they're going to have to let it go, I think.
The mid wave is so incredibly far away. I believe Peanut does have Warrior Trickster. He's going to be able to use that, but he's getting very far away from this Drake. So, Soul Point picked up for free here for Liiv SANDBOX. And GenG, they're going to have to start making some plays soon, because otherwise Liiv SANDBOX will have themselves an Infernal Soul, and I don't really mind what happens in the draft when it comes to having an Infernal Soul, because you're still just going to be absurdly strong.
Yeah. Just unreasonably strong as Dove.
Well, Everfrost is going to connect. The Ram's going to come back as well, as GenG know one thing, and they know that they can kill Dove. And they've been doing that one at least consistently all game long. Deep. Yeah, they're looking for this bottom side as the depth charge, I believe, still off cooldown. Going to be used now onto Peanut, but the Glacial Prison goes wide there. And Croco not going to be able to lock down the rest of GenG. So no revenge for their top laner. Still, it's only one pick here for GenG. And what we're saying about dragons, still a thing for Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, still doesn't change the equation. And Dove, obviously, not having the greatest of games, has been a, I think, the clear sacrifice.
Absorbing pressure. Something.
I can make that joke on tanks. I can't quite.
What do you mean?
Can't quite make it here. As yeah, this is something that I think with GenG's knack for finding engages and playing very aggressively when they feel like they're in a good position shouldn't come as a complete surprise, as unfortunately due to ultimates being used and the flash from Peanut, not going to find any full follow-up, as Prince is, yeah, as expected, topping those levels. Oh, Clozer overtakes him, but still says a lot.
Yeah.
Really nicely highlighting the power that Nilah does have. And once Prince, it's an infinity edge. These fights still very even, and GenG, they are still even in gold. They have an incredible 5v5 comp. But if someone gets picked off and you give up an Infernal Soul to Liiv SANDBOX with a fat Nilah and a Azir that is feeling perfectly fine with the current state of the game, then you're gonna need some magic. And GenG has magic in spades, the 15-0.
Well, Doran's gonna have to flash. Dredge Line not going to land because there is a wall in the way. And Doran had Bellows Breath anyway, but still, this inner turret is not long for the world. Prince just going to tear it to shreds. Chovy with Shirley in tow, though, is looking to do a similar thing here towards the bottom side with only Dove in answer. Might be enough to save at least a few of these autos from Shirley, as Dove dives forward, doesn't quite get the lockdown onto Chovy. There's a flash, but the inner turret is going to fall down, and I have a feeling it's a 0 and 5 here for Dove. The charm goes wide, but it does not matter. The Foxfires do connect.
Oh, and that one very costly also. A teleport invested and not quite working out. And I think it's a blessing in disguise because Doran also teleported. But teleporting, this is probably a mini-map teleport because there are in fact... Oh, no, never mind. There you go. Yeah. That was actually very, very crisp in terms of timing. If the teleport comes in a split second early and you teleport on the minion, then you're good to go. But Dove also trying to flash and keep the turret alive. But again, it'd still be a 2 versus 3. So Dove has the most damage taken, which that's mean, observers.
No,
that's
it's showing that he's doing his job. And you said that if he's on tanks, absorbing pressure is okay. What is a tank's job? Taking damage. He may not necessarily be on the right champion, but he is fulfilling the role, okay?
I have been a front runner of the trying to set Dove behind is bait. I've been very vocal about this.
But how far behind do you have to set it before it becomes not
I feel
bait?
like either it's at some point he just doesn't exist anymore, or is it diminishing returns? And like the more resources you spend, the less Dove cares. I don't really know, Atlus.
He's only 1 level behind.
And he's 0-6-0 or 0-5-0 now. I don't know what's going to be by the end of the game, but if it ends up being a like 0-7-0 Renekton that beats Chovy's undefeated run on Ahri,
yeah,
I would find that very funny on multiple levels.
and heartbreaking. Like equally funny and heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Clozer. I thought there was going to be a Shadow Flame. That's an early death cap. This spike from SANDBOX is very, very threatening. And oh, baby.
Well,
they might not even end up going for that dragon.
The dragon is apparently all the bait that they required, and this is what Soul Point affords you. Liiv SANDBOX are using it beautifully, and this
That's gonna be gone.
It's just dead. There is absolutely nothing that GenG can do about
God.
this. They're going to have to swallow their own medicine. Peanut's just going to walk his way out, and now they've left the dragon alone. There's still 5 seconds before it spawns.
They can still get it.
Liiv SANDBOX can still try and at least threaten. As Prince is front-lighting. Yeah, no, exactly right.
The deep Dove TP! He's doing it!
Is he doing it? Well, the Dominus has already been pre-popped as Croco's going to dive forward.
Go!
Lehends can throw out the hostile takeover, hits 4 people. Dove is looking to kill Ruler. Off on the backside, though, Prince is going to be taken down as Peanut helps collect that one for Chovy. Chovy misses the charm, but I have a feeling Clozer is still, or is he? Chovy has to break his stopwatch as now Peanut picks up turret aggro, but does that mean he's dead? Ruler is still alive. The Warrior Trickster is going to keep the monkey up as now Doran is fighting against Dove. Dove's still up and alive. However, he's going to have to exit, and GenG should be getting their first Drake of the game. But still, there are a few Barons left on Liiv SANDBOX.
I have no idea what just happened.
Neither do I.
I saw Ruler getting zoned, and I'm like, this is a freebie. But it wasn't. And let's take a look. I think Prince gets exhausted early on this fight as well because... so what happens? We go in. Is it just Renata ultimate? Is that what happens? I
mean, basically, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Doran hitting a multi-man knockup into a Renata ultimate into an exhaust. So it's what we talked about, the straight up front to back from GenG, even without their Zeri is more than enough. Zeri was dealing with a crocodile, a uniquely Australian problem. But as it works out, Ruler able to get away from that one.
It's also an Egyptian problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other, but you're Australian, so I thought we don't have to get all accurate on me. This is not the moment, Atlus.
Are you saying that it's not the right time to talk about Nile crocodiles? Okay, that's probably true. But that was almost way worse for Liiv SANDBOX. Clozer not getting hit by that charm. Chovy not exactly being the most accurate with his charm so far this game. It's not his best on the Ahri that he's had thus far, but still does mean that Liiv SANDBOX get to keep 3 of these Barons left alive as Kael's having some fun with the Hex Splash as they get into this mid lane. Baron's still up, as you can see. Clozer and Croco both wearing it. Still going to be around for another 40 seconds as GenG not going to be able to save this inner turret. There shouldn't be any inhibitors falling just yet. And Doran with his Unleashed Teleport here up and available towards the bottom side should be able to answer anything that Liiv SANDBOX do try and do. But as we can see, gold entirely even, but still that soul point is looming for Liiv SANDBOX. One of these next Drake fights, if Liiv SANDBOX win it, it could just be that the game is kind of just going to be done. But we saw that the counter engage from Doran and Lehends is very difficult for Liiv SANDBOX to deal with. Chronicler, how do they mitigate that problem?
Well, you have 2 options. Either you 100-0 Lehends, which, considering the amount and abundance of alternative targets, is a roughie. Generally, most of your lockdown will be thrown into a Ruler. But we saw, even in that last fight, especially at this point in the game, I think that the base damages from GenG are still more than enough. Peanut also going for a very aggressive build, is reasonably fed, also picked up the cleaver to deal with both Dove Croco and Kael. So overall, you got to find either an angle or you got to be ready for it and be able to spread out, right? Because the flank from Dove there, I think, was picture perfect. The problem was that the rest of SANDBOX just engaged very linearly, which makes sense because they felt like they had a really good angle.
Yeah.
You gotta find a way to deal with this Renata ultimate. Because I think that as good as the knockup from Doran and the setup was, even if he doesn't find that, like just that ultimate, there's a reason why this champion has the win streak it has, why it's so hard to deal with. And for SANDBOX, it is I think the biggest issue that they need to solve this game. I think that they have a great setup, right? They have a really powerful team fight, even with, you know, some parts of the comp not scaling amazingly, such as the Renekton. Still have Azir, you have Sejuani, who is amazing frontline, and you have a Prince who now has hit 3 items.
Yeah, he's 1,000 gold ahead as well.
The 5v5 from GenG is just really tough, so maybe you pick someone off inside, right? Maybe you try and set up a deep vision trap, someone walks in, Lehends goes without a body for a second, gets taken down. Maybe Doran is in the side lane, and yes, he's tanky, but if you have enough members, you'll still be able to take him down, especially with Clozer getting closer towards that Void Staff. So there is plenty of opportunity.
Yeah. There is also the opportunity of, you know, if once again Croco hits a great Glacial Prison, next time just pile all your damage onto Lehends as well, instead of ignoring him until he gets his ult off. That could be another option for them to go towards. I did like the experiment that Liiv SANDBOX went for, just CC Lehends so that he can't get the ult off at the right time and then try and blow someone up. But that didn't quite work.
Now the problem is between Doran and Peanut, there is so much CC available, right? So like the setup for a big Renata ultimate is just very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Croco leading the charge here.
Now it's another difficult decision here for GenG, as Doran's going to get a knock-up onto the Renekton, but he's happy to soak. He's going to break his stopwatch here. And the Ornn is going to land onto Prince, but he's very far away. So GenG do press some R buttons. They do manage to get the Dominus out of Dove, but that's not exactly the highest priority.
Yeah, I think that might actually be a favorable trade for SANDBOX. If they're able to actually get towards the Dragon.
Yeah, Hook is going to connect there onto Doran. Remember, Liiv SANDBOX can also just run to the Baron if they would like to. This is well and truly coordinated spawns of the two of them. Liiv SANDBOX now able to move towards this bottom side river. They're not wanting to give away this Drake. They want to get themselves this Infernal. Flank angle has been set up, but it is being spotted now for Liiv SANDBOX. Peanut gonna have to get out of there. Warrior Tricks are going to be used as now Doran frontlining is, oh my god, Chovy just blows up the Nautilus. And now Ruler is kind of free hitting. SANDBOX able to back away, and now Peanut finds that angle once again. Croco at half health. Doran is pretty low as well, though, as now the Cyclone is going to be invested. Dove is going to be their target. It's just a little bit unfair at this stage of the game. Ruler's going to pick up that kill. And now Chovy getting control of the mid lane. GenG will be able to grab this Drake, and they might even be able to transition to a Baron as well.
Croco has flash, though. Still looking for it.
Potential steal angle, exactly. He does get into the pit, but GenG have completely backed away. Arcane Assault is now on cooldown. Doran's going to flash on over. They managed to secure the Drake. It's Chovy of all people. I think he managed to spellbook himself as Smite as now the Extendo Beam lands on a Prince, but Clozer picks up the kill on... Oh my god, everyone's dying! Liiv SANDBOX, they managed to salvage the play somewhat. They're not able to grab the Drake, but can they get this Baron?
Oh, teleport available for Chovy now. He's going to TP towards this wave. Peanut is relatively low. I don't know if they can contest the health bars on SANDBOX. Not looking amazingly. Croco doesn't have that Warmox yet.
Yeah, Croco is certainly very low. Kael's going to have to come over and try and help this one out. But yeah, this is definitely going over to Liiv SANDBOX.
Oh!
That is second Baron secured. Chovy not able to do any work on this outer turret in the mid lane at all. And yeah, the gold, we could talk about it all we want. It doesn't really matter, as Liiv SANDBOX have got another Baron, and they might be able to actually start breaking the base with this one.
And Kael has a lot of defensive stuff available, but it was Zeri plus a returning Orb of Deception.
Yeah.
And he just gets boomed. And notable here is the amount of damage that Clozer is doing, because truly, I don't think he has Void at this point yet, but already sitting on Death Cap and Ludens, like, he is able to get these health bars so insanely low. And what's cool to me about this play is any other team would try to just steal that Drake. But SANDBOX, they see this and they're like, no, no, no. as it is indeed Chovy's smite that I think picks it up. No, we're going in. We're fighting this. Summoner's available for Prince. Ruler's still getting out, but doesn't quite matter. And now with the Baron buff, SANDBOX still sieging, and 2 Infernal Drakes is big, but not game-winning big.
Certainly not. Let's see whether GenG actually start a fight or whether they're just going to try and defend this one. Extendo beams not exactly doing the damage that they want. Chovy's going to be trying to get himself out of this one. The Ornn comes through. Kael's going to break his stopwatch in order to avoid it. Dove now standing on top of a turned-off ward. And this siege minion should be able to finish this one off eventually. As you can see, Clozer standing on a ward, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. And GenG not going to defend this inner turret. So that is the last one remaining. 6 turrets now have bitten the dust for GenG. And Liiv SANDBOX, the first time actually having themselves somewhat of a gold lead to represent what they've been able to do in some of these team fights.
Warmog's almost done for Croco here. Of course, Warmog's on Sejuani used to always be the go-to build. Quite nice into the poke that can come through from Chovy, from Ruler. And with the amount of resistances that you have with Frost Armor, just a very, very nice item. And still, no decisive break in this game. And if you're a GenG fan, you're like, no big deal.
Yeah.
No problem. We can do that.
I mean, I keep talking about the gold, like doing the commentator thing.
Gold is irrelevant.
It's absolutely irrelevant.
Oh,
it's been relevant all game long. It's about whether or not Prince finds these amazing ultimates and he's able to actually auto-attack in these fights. And he has been. He's got so many items.
Look at his XP.
Yeah.
This is Nilah right there, coming through for Liiv SANDBOX.
This is exactly the value that was illustrated by Ruler in an interview like last week.
At this point, I don't want Dove to get any kills or assists.
No, neither do I. I was actually just thinking about that. The first pick, 0-6-0 Renekton.
He can go 0-7, that's fine.
Do you know what the win rate is? 100%, baby. The KDA, not looking great.
Who cares?
It's the wrong kind of not definable. As Liiv SANDBOX, they set up the Sun Disc. And I really like what Azir adds to this composition from Liiv SANDBOX as well, because it kind of adds the extra range, right? If you can set up your Sand Soldiers and actually do some damage. Yes, he doesn't necessarily have a consistent damage build with the fact that it is just boom boom as much as possible. Those Sand Soldiers certainly do hurt.
This is it, Atlus. This is the fight. I think SANDBOX get themselves this Drake. That might very well be it. There is a Vamp Scepter in the inventory here of Prince. Of course, also has a shield bow, so should be able to sustain back up. But the poke from GenG, quite fierce. Croco, of course, has Warmog, so not going to be too bothered by going forward for some very aggressive trading.
Yeah. Croco also soaking a lot here. Took a lot from Chovy as now Dove finds himself a flank angle. Doran in a whole lot of trouble, not looking as tanky as the other way should, as now Prince getting taken down so low. Ruler is at full health in this fight. Clozer does manage to take down the Ornn, but can Ruler actually win the fight is going to be the question. He's trying to do some Zeri things. Nails the first kill. There's the second. Now he's chasing after Dove, who goes into his GA, but he's going to have to die a second time, I believe. That's the triple kill. And it is the Ruler ending to at least this team fight.
And that's a third Drake going over as they're back.
Oh dear. Again.
Oh.
Survives.
Makes it for, Prince. What we doing there? Prince?
There's, that
what?
control ward paid for itself and then some.
Yeah, Prince, I think it's fine. No, we're okay. So, that's third Drake.
I was half expecting Prince to contest.
Yeah, me too.
I was getting ready to play-by-play again.
No, you should. It's SANDBOX. And this is very reminiscent of the previous fight where Dove is like, guys, okay, I got Chovy. Chovy's not in this fight. We're good, right? Guys, we're good. And the problem is, they are good, at least for the first part of it. But then note that, yes, the front line's gone, but that doesn't matter, because Ruler untouched in this fight, and we see the value of the handshake, right? Renata coming through for Ruler there as well. And yeah, Prince and I think that if Prince and Clozer, thank you. I'm just getting, my brain's getting
no, it's okay
because of
it's
this.
okay.
if they're actually contesting there, like, maybe they win the flip. Flash was still available for Prince, but if you lose, it's the end of the game. As Croco.
Yeah, looking for Peanut here. There's the dredge line. Kael immediately flashes away as Prince down to half health. There's the hostile takeover, and now the damage from Ruler is going to come through. Prince has already been taken. Ruler just going to destroy Dove. 0, 8, and 0, unfortunately, on the Renekton. Croco going to try and walk it out, but his little piggy legs not going to be able to get him out of this one. And I think the backs of Liiv SANDBOX have finally been broken as GenG are bearing down on their base. Okay. Well, Emperor's Divide is not going to find anything. Doran's going to break some Sand Soldiers. His Extendo Beam is going to allow at least an assist to go over to Ruler as Peanut does find himself a Nimbus Strike just to get on top of the Azir. And Clozer buys a fair bit of time, but he's still dead. That's 600 gold going over to Peanut as GenG move into the base.
I don't think it's enough. It's a nice attempt from SANDBOX, but at 100% win rate for Chovy. Gonna keep on standing, and Ruler, man, this guy is just not balanced.
He's just not. I mean, Zeri also isn't, especially with a range advantage this high. But Liiv SANDBOX made them work so hard for it. You saw the game plan. You saw how it was supposed to work. And you might be looking